Hello everyone, you're welcome to this week's Tech Tuesdays webinar on data quality reporting framework using Axon and DEQ. I'm Rinda, your host for today's session, and today we have with us Mayank Kumar Shrivastava, our principal consultant from the Informatica Professional Services team. Before we start this session, let's go through some housekeeping tips. The webinar is 1 hour that includes a 15 minutes Q&A. You can post your queries in the Q&A box. Dial-in participants are muted for the entire session, and the session is being recorded and will be available in the Informatica Support YouTube channel and the Success portal, where you will also be able to download the slide deck. Please feel free to put in your feedbacks and suggestions for the session in the post-webinar survey. The Tech Tuesdays webinars are hosted within the Success portal, which is a micro-learning platform that offers free and unlimited learning to all registered users. This feature-rich platform was launched to help you learn and use Informatica products better. Here are a few important links that you can go over later that will help you in your product adoption journey with Informatica. Over to you, Mayank. Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction. This is Mayank from Informatica Professional Services. I mainly focus on data governance, related use cases, business strategy, and technical implementation using Informatica Data Governance Product Suite. Let's overgo the agenda for today's session. We will start with the solution overview and its architecture. Next will be high-level implementation steps for this solution. Then we'll go through sample data quality results, output, and how the data quality dashboards are presented in Axon. After that, we'll go through a sample target operating model for the solution, which will be like a BAU scenario once this whole solution is go live and end users have started using it. Towards the end, we will have a demo and then the QA session. This solution is built on top of Informatica data quality and Informatica Axon. Hence, it leverages the feature functionalities of Informatica data quality, like the maplets, where the data quality rules will be built in a reusable format so that those rules can be applied to multiple different sources and we can reuse the whole code. And then we'll be also leveraging and using the dynamic mapping concept so that our solution is dynamic and metadata driven by parameterizing the multiple values like the connection, the source name, and others, and which will make it also a scalable solution. And this whole solution we will orchestrate using the workflow functionality in Informatica data quality and deployed as an application so that the solution can be scheduled as per requirement, like running those data quality rules on a particular source table on a daily or monthly basis or as required. So this generated data quality results can be exposed to a third-party business intelligence tool like a Tableau, Power BI, Click, etc. So which will further help and provide flexibility to end users to create a customized dashboard and reports and do slice and dice, and then maybe report it or share with other stakeholders. So let's look at the solution architecture. Here at the very far left, we have the data source. So the solution that we are trying to build here is quite dynamic, reusable. So the data sources where we can apply this could be of different types. It could be like a relational database like Oracle, SQL Server, or Cloud Data Warehouse, or Hive tables, or it can also be a flat files residing on a system. So the solution is parameterized and metadata driven. So you can use it against different data sources, and the data quality results which will be generated will get stored in a structured format, which could be like our relational database like Oracle, SQL Server, and so this data quality result will then get exposed or can be exposed to our any enterprise level business utilization tool like Tableau, Click, or Power BI. And once we have this data quality result generated, then this result will be pushed to Axon via REST API call using the same solution end to end. And those data quality scores will be available in Axon for end users to view it and even see those data quality dashboard at different level. So we'll touch upon those in our upcoming topics. So next is the solution high level implementation steps. So if we want to implement this kind of a solution, so at a high level, what are the steps that we need to perform? So as a very first step, we need to capture those data quality rules and its related business assets like system name, dataset name, attribute name, glossaries, etc. in Informatica Axon. So this will be like our business layer where we are capturing all our business requirement. Then once we have everything all in Axon, and usually it will be done by the business, the business team from where all the data quality requirements coming. And once we have all those rules present in Axon, then we can create the reusable data quality rules using the Maplets functionality in Informatica developer tool, and which will help us reuse these across different data sources where we want to measure similar data quality rules. So once we have those maplets created, then we'll create a parameterized dynamic data quality mapping. So which will be reading data from a dynamic source table, and then applying all those data quality rules and doing a union of the rules, which will then ultimately get written to a data quality result table. And as we just seen in the our architecture, that this result table can be in any RDBMS like Oracle, SQL Server, etc. So then fourth step is to creating a mapping to generate the Axon token using the Axon credential. So till step number 1, 2, and 3, we are done with all our data quality specific tasks. We have generated the DQ results, and by this time even DQ result will be available to be exposed to third-party business intelligence tool. Now we want to push these data quality results to Axon. So to do so, we will need to have a mapping which will generate the token using Axon credential, and then this token will be used in our another mapping where we'll be actually calling the API. So moving to step number 5. So here we will have creating another mapping which will read the data from our data result table and generate a JSON file, which will be in the required structure that Axon can accept when we'll do a REST API call. So this mapping will generate that JSON file, and this JSON file can reside in the Informatica server, and it must contain all the required details like the execution time, DQ score, exception count, identity, etc. And post that, we will create a mapping that will read this JSON file data and make an API call to Axon to push the DQ result. So this API call in my demo, I'll be like which I'll be showing. So here I made use of like a Java code which perform this API call. Then once we have all these jobs created, then the last step will be to orchestrate this whole solution using a workflow where we'll create the dependencies between all these mapping tasks and then deploy this whole solution as an application so that this can then be scheduled as required on maybe a daily or weekly basis or monthly basis. Okay, moving to next. So this is a sample data quality result output. So it contains system name. So this will be like the system where we are applying the data quality check, then the data set name. So within that system, what is the like a table where we are applying the data quality rules, and then the attribute name. So within that particular table, what is the column where we are applying those DQ rule, and then the name of the DQ rule which we are applying, the dimension. So dimension could be like completeness, accuracy, consistency, etc. And then based on the calculation and the processing that has been done by Informatica, we'll know what is the fail count, pass count, total count, and then calculating the DQ percentage, which will be our data quality score, and the date of execution when we have executed this this job. So this will be our data quality result table, which then can be open to the business intelligence tools to create some dashboards and reports with slice and dice functionality, and also be later used to push the data quality scores into Axon. So moving to next. So Axon data quality dashboard. So here this is an example of how the data quality dashboard will look like at a Glossary level. So once we push the data quality scores to Axon, so these out of the box data quality dashboard will be visible, available to the end users. And in this slide, we are looking at a sample data quality dashboard at a Glossary level. So what does it shows is the roll-up view of all the data quality scores that are applied at a data at attribute level, which are associated with this particular glossary. Similarly, we have a data quality dashboard at a system level also. So here it shows a roll-up view of the data quality scores at the which are applied at attributes which are present in the that particular system. Let's look at a sample targeting operating model for this solution. So in this BAU scenario, the data consumer navigates to Axon to search for a data set required for his or her business requirement, and finds out that one of the data quality dimension or a data quality rule is missing for that particular data set by looking at the dashboards of the data quality in Axon. So that person raises a CR in Axon on the concerned data set with details around the new data quality rule, which then goes to the data steward, who takes the business approval from the business owner for that new data quality rule to be created. And once approved, then this data steward will be responsible to create that business data quality rule in Axon with assigning all the required stakeholders, and then raising a CR against the data quality object, which will notify the data quality tax specialist that there is a new data quality requirement. And so based on that data quality object in Axon, the DQ tax specialist will know that what are the details around it, like the requirement on which system, and what is the data set and attribute on which needs to be applied. So based on that, now the DQ tax specialist will create a new DQ rule while like updating our this existing solution. So maybe it may require creating a new maplet, or maybe updating an existing maplet. And then once the required technical changes has been done in the non-production environment, then DQ tax specialist will generate the data quality results in the non-production environment. And once this result is available, then the data steward can validate it. If there are any issues, then it goes back to DQ tax specialist to make any required changes. And once all the changes are done, the DQ result, which is populated non-production, has been validated successfully by data steward. Then the DQ specialist will go ahead and deploy the changes in the production, and then generate the DQ result also in production. So which will result in publishing the those DQ scores into the Axon also. And that's where our end-to-end whole CR will complete in Axon. And this will complete our scenario of one sample scenario of BAU. So similarly, there can be other BAU scenarios which can be part of this overall target operating model for such solution. So now we will go through our demo. So here in this demo, so we have this data quality solution, which is built in the Informatica data quality. So here we have the Informatica developer tool open. So here I have all those some rules, DQ rules, which have been created as maplets. So if we see at one of the sample rule here, so we have this completeness check rule, so which is taking in the input, and in the expression we have the validating the rule. So we are checking whether the input value that is coming is null or not, or it's doing altrim checking if it is empty or not. And based on that, we are assigning a flag to it like fill and pass, and then passing that validation station output to our output. And similarly, so we'll have multiple different maplets for all the required DQ rules. And then using those rules and our DQ functionalities of dynamic mapping and parameterization. So we'll create a mapping which will read the data, and then based on that, it will apply all those DQ rules, and then finally it will write the data to the DQ result. So once we have the DQ result, so it will be like return to a relational database. So in this case, so I'm using using the relational database as Oracle, and here we can see the sample output that looks like. So we have a system CRMS with data set as customer, and one attribute which is like a CU birthday, like a date of birth, and where we are applying like accuracy check, and we can see that the fail count is 1, pass count is 16, total count is 17, and based on that the DQ percentage generated and the date of execution. Similarly, for each DQ rule applied at each attribute, we will have one row of data. And then once we have all the DQ result generated, then we'll have this that token generation logic, which will generate the token for our Axon, and then we'll write that will read the data from the DQ result table that we have just seen, and we will create a JSON flat file, JSON file, which will be used by our next job to read it and then do a REST API call. So in our next job, we will be like reading that JSON file and making a REST API call through our so here I'm using a Java transformation, and then based on that Java transformation, so I'll be performing the REST API call, and then it will pushing the DQ scores into Axon. So once we have all these jobs created, then we'll orchestrate this job in a workflow. So this is like a simple workflow which I've created. So here we can see all those mapping tasks that we have created, and like I have built the dependency between them so that one by one they execute, and making sure that the dependent job complete first before executing the next one. All right. So once the jobs are created and we are executed, so we should be able to see the job succeeded. So here I have that, so we can see the application that like I have deployed here, and within that application I have the workflow which we have seen before this, and within that workflow we have all these tasks which have been completed successfully. So after execution we should be able to see them executing successfully, and their execution time and the elapsed time. So once we have our jobs executed, so the next thing will be that we should be able to see those things in the those DQ scores in Axon. So let me go there. So here in my Axon, what we have done is that as even at the initial step, I have built those or uploaded those data quality objects into Axon. So here we can see that we have these data quality objects, customer identification, document number, completeness, some validity rules, and then we have some completeness check rule and some accuracy rules. And then here we can see the description. So the description can be more detailed as required. And based on this, we see that this particular rule, the customer identification document number completeness check, is applied on an attribute in a system CRMS, and the data quality dimension type is completeness. And then there's a green target and amber target. So this is like, so green is my like ideally what is my threshold above which the data quality scores are acceptable, which considered as good. So it could be anything like 95%, 99%, or even 100%. And then we have amber target, which is more like the which is not the data quality is not at the required or like the accepted, but still it is good enough, but can be worked upon to make it better. But anything then below is considered like a warning, and then needs a take quick attention. So here, so for example, as we have this green target as 95. So if our data quality scores comes above 95, then in that case it will be considered as a green zone. And then if it is anything between 85 and 95, it will be considered as a amber zone. And anything below 85 will be considered as a red zone. Then we can see the reporting month. So when this DQ score was reported, so you can see it's 15 June. And then we can see the result. So for this one, it's like 15%. So hence it's coming as red. So similarly, we have one rule where we have green zone. So here under customer birth date validity check. So we have this applied on the CRMS system with on attribute customer date of birth incorporation. And we are doing a validity check. So the DQ dimension is validity. And here we have kept the green target same as other one, 95, and amber 85. So here we can see that, so the result is 100%, which is above 95. So we can see that it is considered as a green zone. Then we have some these amber zones also here. So for this one, we are doing customer date of birth check on the accuracy dimension. And here we can see that as the scores are coming as 94.12%. So which is like less than our 95%, but more than 95%. Hence, it is considered as amber, and hence we can see the amber color coded here. So similarly, we should be able to see all those data quality rules results being pushed to Axon, and the end users will be able to visualize them from Axon. So this is from the data quality tab. Now let's look at how the data quality dashboard will look like. So the very first is data quality dashboard will be on the data quality tab also. So beside the list, we have this dashboard option also. So if I click on it, so it will show me all the number of those data quality rules, which I'm seeing there in the list. And based on that, it will do a calculate the validity average score, accuracy score, the completeness, and as we don't have any consistent timelines, so that are coming as 0. And below it will show us that for validity, what is the total number. Like here we have 7, and out of 7 we have 4 which are above our green zone target, and then 3 which are below our amber target zone. So all that color coding it will show, and it will give us a quick view of how the data quality looks like for all those data quality rules that has been executed. And here in the another dashboard, it will show us how the data quality rules have been categorized. So here we can see that there are 7 validity, 7 accuracy, and 6 completeness. So this is at a data quality tab level. So let's say now we have in the DAC we have seen at a system level. So if we go to the CRMS system where we have applied, so we can see that at a system level also the dashboard. So it will be a similar dashboard which showing the same thing. So but let's say when we have multiple systems where the data quality has been measured, so then each system level will see for that particular system. And there it will give us an idea that how good or bad the data is with the system, and then appropriate actions can be taken by the required stakeholders. So this is at the system, and then next is at a glossary level also. So here we can see that on this client date of birth glossary, we have 9 rules applied, out of which there are some 2 validity rules, 5 accuracy, and 2 completeness. So as our validity rule is 100% rolled up, so that is showing that 2 are there and which are above target. Hence, also the validity score is coming as 100% rolled up value based on the each DQ score against the attributes where this glossary has been associated. And then accordingly, we have complete accuracy and completeness DQ scores shown here. So this is at a system, then we have at a glossary level. And similarly, if we have our data these data, if we have the association with other facets within Axon, like process, so we will be able to see how the data quality of a process looks like. So that's where we have completed our data quality reporting framework using Informatica developer tool and Axon. So now next will be our Q&A. So this completes our demo, and is there any Q&A? Yeah, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Mayank, for the great presentation. Everyone, please post your questions if you have any in the Q&A box. We will try and answer them. Over to you, Mayank.
Yeah, thanks, Inda. So there are some questions.
which I'd like to answer here. So there was one question on the, is it possible to create one mapping instead of multiple? So yes, we can create one big mapping also, but to modelize this solution and make it easy to debug in case of issue, I have created multiple mappings and based on that created dependency between them while orchestrating it in the workflow. Another question was what transformation has been used to perform those REST API calls. So in this framework, I have used Java transformation and made those Axon REST API call. And details on those Axon REST API calls, what are those REST APIs available, is present in the Axon product document. Next is on the what transformation has been used to convert the file data to JSON or to parse the JSON file. So in the framework, I have made use of the data processor transformation. Another question was related to the version of the Informatica product that have been used in the demo. So I have used Informatica DEQ version 10.5.2, and as for Axon, I've used 7.2.x. Another question was if do we need the Axon agent for this solution to work? So as we are leveraging the Axon APIs, so we don't explicitly need the Axon agent here. And another few more questions that I would like to answer is related to can we send the email notification as part of this whole workflow orchestration? Yes, we can embed the notification task if there is a requirement to send notification based on the success or failure of the jobs. We can do that. Another question is on what are the facets in Axon where the data quality dashboard is available. So to answer it, the data quality dashboard is available at multiple facets like glossary facet, system facet, dataset facet, policy, process, etc. And another question was how to provide the connection, table name, schema name dynamically while reading the source where we are applying the data quality rule. So this can be achieved by parameterizing the connection, owner, and resource field in the runtime property of the read object. And then while executing the job, we can provide the parameter file. And also while scheduling, we can provide the parameter file to be used. You can see there are some more questions. Let me just check them out also. Okay, so another question is why would we need to make use of the these maplets instead of using the pre-built functionality? So one benefit of using this framework is that the DQ result table that we are generating here that can be exposed to the data visualization tool or the enterprise level data visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, and then custom dashboards can be created, slice and dice reporting can be created on top of that, and can be then shared with the required stakeholders. So that's one of the reasons. And another reason is that as part of the pre-built functionality, we will be creating multiple scorecards in the analyst. So here, as part of the DQ result itself that we are generating the scorecard value. So we are reducing one step to create the scorecard in analyst. So because of these few reasons, I've used this approach. Okay. any webinars or videos on implementalizing it. So this one will check and get back. If there are any, it will be posted. If we have any similar videos are coming. Okay, so how can we integrate with like Tableau or Power BI to these DQ results? So as we are generating this DQ result table, so in my demo I've shown that I've generated the DQ result into an Oracle table. So that Oracle table, DQ result table can be in Oracle or a Hive or a SQL Server or any other relation database kind of table. And then we can expose that table to our data visualization or the kind of tools. And then there we can generate the custom dashboards. Okay. So can we provide the details of Maplet? So here, the Maplet which I've used in my demo are more for like more from a demo perspective. So for example, if there is a requirement for completeness check, so the logic was like we are checking the null or empty, and then based on that, I had a flag column validation status. And then based on that, I put within my DQ mapping, I put a logic to do a count on the number of like pass or fail, and based on that, able to identify how many records failed my DQ check and how many records passed my DQ check. And then and based on the total number of records, I was able to come up with the DQ score value, and then DQ score value was written into our DQ result table along with other metadata like the system on which we are applying this DQ check, the table where we are applying, and execution date and others. And this data was then converted into to the required JSON files, which can be then consumed by Axon through REST API. Can you flag records as reviewed for accepted as not needing remediation so that it doesn't keep showing up in result? Yes, we can do that. So what we can do is that we can have the same mapping that we were using for the data quality. So we can have what we can do is that while writing the DQ result, we can have another lookup which contains the exception records, where we can capture those DQ results which we consider even though they are being reported, but let's say we consider them as an exception and we don't want to report them again, even though if they are failing our DQ result. So we can definitely add that logic in our whole DQ, that our DQ mapping. And that's the reason also like why I've created this modularized solution also. So that if such kind of enhancement or such kind of further requirement comes into place, then we can just go to that particular model and update it. So once we add that particular logic, so that based on that lookup, we will know that this particular fail value for this particular system table is like exception and doesn't need to be reported. So that value we can skip while writing to a DQ result table, so that our DQ score will get improved and will not report those values which we kind of consider as exception. Okay, so one more question. So it does need to be a relational database before being ingested. There is no plugin. Okay. Yes, that is correct. We need to write this DQ result table into a DQ result into a relational table. We can even write into a kind of like flag file, but to have that function, that flexibility and that benefit of having in a relational table. So that's why I've chosen. the relational table as my target. And once we write that DQ result into a relational table, then this table can then be ingested into a data visualization tool. And yes, you are right. There is no out-of-the-box plugin, because as we are writing this into a third party outside the Informatica platform, we are writing into a separate database.
Thank you, Mayank. Let's wait for some more time before we can end the session.
Sure.
Maybe a minute or so. While we wait, just wanted to call out that this session is being recorded and it will be available in the Informatica Support YouTube channel and the Success portal, where you will also be able to download the slide deck. Also, right after the session, we have a post-webinar survey. Please let us know your thoughts about this session, and if you have any suggestions for future sessions, please let us know your thoughts through that survey. Let's wait for one more minute before we can end the session. If we do not have any questions, we will end it right away. Yeah, we got one question from Leanne. Does this integration with Axon work with cloud data quality?
Okay. So currently the framework which I have shown here is the data quality reporting framework. So this one currently I'm using the data integration quality, which is the on-prem solution for data quality from Informatica. So this is not for the CDQ. So for CDQ, we can make it work, but it will be, as it will be on the cloud, the platform will be different, and the overall solution will be different than what we have covered at this moment. So yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we don't have any questions coming in. I think we have answered all the questions. If we have failed to answer any of the questions, we'll get back to you right after the session. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks once again to Mayank for setting aside some time for this wonderful presentation. Thanks a lot. See you on our next Tech Tuesday. Bye.